are almost equally powerful. I can go details, look at each institution, look at distribution from Central Committee, Policy Bureau, New Generation, and etc. Right? It's equally powerful factions. Sometimes they compete against each other, sometimes they help each other. Now, early on, I mentioned two statistics. 20 million migrant workers could not find job. 1 million college students, new college students could not find job. But probably this year you add probably with 2 or 3 million altogether. College students usually belong to the middle class. Now, the question is whether this really causes the social unrest, because you really hurt the economic financial crisis, really hurt both. But my answer is probably not. Why not? Because there are some people in the leadership represent their interests, or you can, through the institutional means, to protect their interests. So that's a very, very important development. This is, again, the Chinese experiment. To a certain extent, it's similar to the Washington term, team of rival, right? Actually, Hu Jintao was not a member of Jiang Zemin, but he succeeded Jiang Zemin. Now, probably China, in a few years, will have another succession. Xi Jinping, vice president, also does not belong to Hu Jintao's faction, but probably will succeed Hu Jintao. So that's a very interesting development. The driver's seat changed, but in a peaceful way. As we know, political succession used to be a killer, as Susan Shook, Professor Susan Shook, the term used. But China, in my view, seemed to find a way to compromise, to negotiate, to share power. Now, again, this is still lack of transparency, lack of legitimacy, but it's a very important development. So to answer your question, yes, we see fundamental progress, but at the same time, China still needs to express to the outside world about its values, about its universal values, how to deal with minority groups, how to deal with the media freedom. So this is the answer to your question.
Yes, got some great questions here, and I know we don't have that much time. We've got some 15, so first question is about young people, and it's asked the question, what's the implications for U.S.-China relations because from the fact that the more younger generation in China are, quote, angry youth, end quote. I guess this refers to the fact that 中国不高兴 or something like that. So,
yeah. Yes, you can, that kind of the Chinese young people at internet, in the bookstore, as you mentioned, this Unhappy China book. We have to understand that kind of phenomenon. Why some young people, they are not happy? First, they do not represent the overwhelming majority of the Chinese young people. I was president of a Chinese Foreign Affairs University for 5 years. I was in touch with the Chinese young people. I think they do not share the position, the views of these so-called angry youth. For instance, this book was a bestseller, Unhappy China. I discussed with my PhD students. They disagree. They say that this book is based on not based on the fact, on sort of a mirage. And these books, at the beginning of this book, people say that China is isolated, but it's not true. Look at China's international relations. As a career diplomat, I never felt that. Maybe before, during the Cultural Revolution, I felt that. But no, we have many friends, we have many, corporations here and there. So this, the foundation of this book is not true. But two, why they are not happy? I think, we came from past. The class struggle was dominant factor in China. That in theory, after we open up to the outside world, we have no time to discuss about it. remnants of the class struggle ideas are still there. Today, you go to China, you can realize one thing. Conspiracy theory is quite popular. This is another book which is also bestseller, Money War. They believe what we are seeing today in the world, the financial crisis, this is America made it. This is like a novel, like a story. People are so good. They read it for fun. They don't believe it. But since the remnants of class struggle ideas are still there, they are influencing people's behavior. That kind of thinking does not, angry youth thinking does not represent mainstream thinking. I can give you an example. The typical demonstration of that angry youth was anti-Japanese demonstration, 2005. The Chinese government did a few things. When they asked three ambassadors to go to campus to talk to students. I was one of them. Two served in Japan. I never served in Japan, but I went to the campus. The largest crowd I addressed maybe 5,000 students. In the 1980s, one of the Director General of the Chinese Foreign Ministry went to Beijing University because anti-Japanese demonstration. He was booed by the students. He couldn't speak. So when people asked me to do that, I told myself maybe the same fate was waiting for me. Then I pondered the language I have to use to the young people. So I went to them. I used very straightforward language. I said, you guys, you want to boycott the Japanese goods. Your mentality is so backward. How come? The world changed a lot. You take a Sony product, you open it, 95% made in China. Are you boycotting yourself? What a stupidity. The young people applauded. Then I said, you say you are patriots. But patriotism has to be based on China's national core interests. What are China's national core interests? I believe two things: prosperity and reunification. What's the relationship between the two? Prosperity is the basis for reunification. How to reach prosperity? Opening up to the outside world and reform. Yes, agreed? Agreed. Or can we alienate Japan and many other countries to reach prosperity? It's impossible. Then young people agreed with me. So after, I gave a dozen of the conferences in different universities. So that kind of things led me to the conclusion, yes, they are angry youth, but they do not represent overwhelming majority of young people in China.
Well, I tried to brief. 2 days ago at Brookings, we hosted an event, the Understanding China's Angry Youth. We'll fortunately have Li Kai-fu, is he here? And Kai-fu Li, our member, to give a keynote speech. Probably more than any public figure in the world, he spent more time with the Chinese youth. And he published 3 books, all aimed to have a communication with young people. He said he spent 20% of his time, visit Chinese campuses and talk to people. And so I think, too bad he is not here. He probably can also share more about his assessment. Now, it is interesting, this year is the 20th anniversary of Tiananmen. We can see the contrast of the image. 20 years ago, Chinese students were very much inspired by Western democracy. Cheryl Wooden, you cover Tiananmen. It is certainly so vivid, that kind of inspiration and this kind of high spirit among the young Chinese people, particularly their view towards the United States. But things drastically changed after 20 years. There's many reasons contribute to this drastic change. But one of them, I think, is our single-minded policy towards China. Alienated the people we really wanted to be friends with. Now, it's not difficult to understand why they are angry. You look at the events during the past 10 to 15 years. First the embassy bombing, then EP3 incident, recently the southern South China Sea conflict. Each of them either kill Chinese or bomb the Chinese embassy or in the China's very close area.